Welcome to the Battlefield Walker channel. It's been a few weeks since I've been able to be relic hunting on a Civil War battlefield, and I'm going back to the area of Cold Harbor today. I know I've put a big dent in whatever was there, but the old timers say you never find it all. Although I'll be in the general area of Cold Harbor, we'll be on the 1862 Gaines Mill battlefield, so anything we find there should be early war. So today, we're going to Cold Harbor, and we're going to step in the footsteps of northern and southern soldiers who tromped over these grounds 160 years ago in 1862, and then that terrible battle in June of 1864 where there were so many thousands of casualties. We'll see what they left behind today. I'm glad you've chosen to spend a few minutes with me. I'm the Battlefield Walker, and we're about to hit the fields. I'm on this property that I've hunted for years, and the homeowner contacted me and told me they were planning a building addition, and that I was welcome to come and take one last shot in the yard where the building addition will go. This home was not here during the Gaines Mill battle. It was built just a few years after the Civil War had ended. I've hunted this area many times, and so I'm just trying to find that one little button before they build over the ground and the relics are inaccessible to me or anybody else for another 100 years. It's crazy to be hunting in short sleeves in February, but that's Virginia weather this year. There's nothing left here that would suggest a battle or a camp full of Civil War soldiers was ever here. It looks like it's just been a peaceful farm for hundreds of years. But just below the surface of the ground, there's been canteens, bayonets, many varieties of buttons. Hut sites have been uncovered here. A tourist that stopped here would have no idea anything ever happened here of significance during the war between the states. Some of it is still just barely underground. Let's see if we can find some. All right, we're digging in the vicinity of this renovation. As you can imagine, I'm finding a lot of aluminum, and that's iron. Let's see what it's going to be. Just a piece of farm iron. That's a root right there. It's one ginormous root, and I'm getting a good signal down in here, but it is a dog to dig. Golly, I don't want to have to try to cut that. I'm just trying to dig with my fingers, see if I can get to it. Golly, I sure hope it's worth it. It's right up under this root. Guarantee I'm working for this one, whatever it is. Oh, man. Man. Ooh-wee. Oh no. Oh no, that's aluminum foil. It looks like out of a cigarette pack, it's so thin. Dude, after all that work, I can't believe it. You know, you think you under a root that big, you got to have something really old. It ain't necessarily so. We're still in root country, big time. Oh no. Oh gosh. A nail. I'm getting some old unfired brick in the hole too. I think that's a round ball. I'm going to point at it with my shadow. Right there. Alright, so there's a 69 caliber Civil War round ball. There's definitely more in there, but I just don't know how deep it is. Alright, I see iron. I'm definitely seeing more brick in there. Dug something out. Let's see what it is. Alright, there's the buck that went with that round ball. There's that iron that I heard down in the hole. Piece of a nail. That, my friends, is a percussion cap. Percussion cap, round ball, buck, bits of brick, nail. And I really, really want to dig this hole out bigger. Okay, we got more in the hole. It looks like a piece of brick, but I'm getting a signal there. Uh-oh. We got brass. We got brass. What is that? What is that? It's not a button. What is it? Well, that's a new one on me. I do not know what that is. I didn't have any more luck in the yard. Found that round ball, buckshot, that funky little brass piece, and a percussion cap in the one hole. I'm descending into this tangled mess and see what we can do in the woods. I've got a good signal in the creek here, and I've already started digging it. But right in this little curve of this creek here, where it goes around this little knoll, years ago I found a wedding band right there. So, see what else we can come up with maybe. Still down there. A little piece of copper. That was a bit of a disappointment. I was just following this creek bank and saw this. I was hunting along through this creek bottom. Look at the size of these tulip poplars behind me. They're huge. I wonder if they're witness trees. I wonder if they saw the battle. Look at the size of these things. Does that help? Wow. Okay, I got a pretty good signal in this bank right here. So we're going to take just a little bit of dirt off and see if it's still there. Because if it's like a button or something that got washed down, it's not going to be deep. Still there and still good. I'd say that sounds like a button. Man, I hope so. Yeah. Yeah. I've just got to go. Oh, is that? No. No, it's just a rock. I thought I saw green. All right. I still got a good feeling about this. Nobody would ever know that anything of any significance ever happened here. Look at this. Nature has taken over where the battle raged. I wonder if there's any evidence of the battle right in this little bank right in this little hole. What's that? Is that a button? I see green. Yes, I do see green. I think we've got evidence of what happened here so long ago. Got a shank on the back. Oh yeah, nice straight shank on the back. You can see that, I'm sure. Yep. I'm sure that's just an eagle button, but still. I love any kind of button. Yeah, I see the eagle. So there's the evidence that the soldiers fought here. No one would know. I mean, here's where we are. Who would have any idea that the evidence of these soldiers was right there? Yeah, that's cool, man. That's so cool. Okay, this one doesn't sound as good as that button sounded, but I'm 5 feet away from the button, moving up the hill, thinking that if that button was washed down, I want to go uphill from it. I've already gone downhill to see if anything was washed further, and I didn't have any luck. All right, it's right there. All right, I feel it. I think it's right there. Oh no, that's a bullet. That's a bullet. Can you see that little white line right there? That's lead, I think. All right. There is more evidence of the soldiers who were here 160 years ago. And most of the world has forgotten they were ever here. But you are honoring their memory, I think, just by watching. Things are picking up a little bit. I'm not real thrilled about this one, but it sounds like big iron. And I think I just hit it. Yeah, whatever it is, there it is. But it could be a shell fragment or something in a place like this. And of course, that is not a shell fragment. Oh, you know what that is? That's cool. First one I've ever found in here. That is a currycomb. What the cavalry soldiers would use to groom their horses. Well, that may not be Civil War. Of course, this farm has been a farm before the Civil War and after the Civil War. So you can always find, modern farm equipment, etc., mixed in with Civil War stuff. This is not a great signal I've got here in front of me, but it's repeatable and it's not bad. So we're going to dig it. A little modern rifle slug or pistol slug or something, about a 25 caliber. There's one shotgun shell. Well, the day's getting long, and there's the creek right down there. That's a decent signal right there, so we'll try that. It might be our last signal of the day. Something right there. All right, is that a bullet? Right there. Oh, looky there. Definitely. You see it, don't you? Been laying there, 160 years? Since the Battle of Gaines Mill in Cold Harbor. There she is. Is that a carbine? What is that? No, it's a 3-ringer. Most of the three ringers in this place are dropped because this was a camp. A lot of people, they're disappointed when a bullet has been fired and it's misshapen. They'd rather find one like this. But to be honest with you, I'd really rather find a fired one. Because a bullet like this, I mean, it has a history. It rode around in some soldier's cartridge box, and he owned it and handled it. But a fired bullet? That bullet was loaded in the musket, maybe under a lot of pressure, and it hit something. Whether it hit an enemy, I've often wondered, of all the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bullets I have, I've often wondered how many of them killed somebody or maimed somebody. This one definitely not. This is dropped. It was never fired. All right. Well, if that's the last signal of the day, I can be happy with that. Well, I definitely wouldn't say we killed it today, but I'll tell you the truth. In 2023, if you can find a place to go on a Civil War battlefield, and if I can come home with a decent looking button, I'm pretty pleased. Today, as we look back at some relics found in years past, I wanted to show you two things that I found on this site where I was hunting today. The first is pretty mundane, actually. This is the top of a Civil War ration can. You can see that it was probably cut open with a pocket knife, very irregular. Unfortunately, the hole in the top of that ration can is the identification, and it's missing the identification of how you pretty much can be sure it was a Civil War ration can. And it was there when I found it. It fell out years ago. What they would do is when they would seal these cans up, they would boil them to make sure they were, cooked. And then they would put a little drop of lead solder on the one tiny hole that was still in the can. You couldn't boil it with the can sealed or it would explode. So there was one little pinprick of a hole in the top of the can. And once they were ready to seal it, they would drop a little bit of lead solder on that hole in the top of the ration can. To be honest, years ago, ration cans, we kind of considered them trash and we sort of just kicked them aside. But I saved that top for one reason, because the drop of lead in the top of the lid was so obvious, which now has fallen out, but also because of the way the can was cut irregularly. On another part of this farm, I found this pair of scissors among buttons and bullets and other camp detritus. I don't know whether these scissors were brought from home or whether these would have been surgical shears owned by a camp doctor. But I found it interesting to find a household item among the soldiers' militaria. It's just kind of cool to think that even in camp life, even with death and destruction all around them, they still had to take care of everyday chores. And so occasionally you'll find something like a pair of scissors or a personal item of jewelry or something like that. I enjoy finding any part of camp life when I'm at a place like this or on a battlefield for that matter. I'm glad you joined me for this little hunt on the Cold Harbor battlefield. Even though we didn't find a lot, we found evidence of those soldiers who crossed this ground, slept on this ground, fought on this ground, and in some cases died on this ground. That's the story of the Civil War, and that's the story of Cold Harbor. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to the channel, and we'll be relic hunting again soon. Until we do, I'm the Battlefield Walker, and you know what comes next. Be good and say your prayers.